Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having an amazing day. In today's video, what I want to do is I want to go over my Tradingview settings. I want to go over all the tools I use, really what I use them for, and then all the settings when it comes down to it. I get asked every day, what's the settings for the MACD? What's the settings for your fib? What's the settings for this? What's the settings for that? What's the color, grade, blase, blase, blah. So I was just like, yo, instead of answering everyone individually, I just want to make a quick little video going over each of the tools that I like to use, my favorite tools, how I use them, the settings behind them, and literally step by step showing you how to use each one of these tools as well. So that being started, let's go ahead and pull these up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show y'all my favorites tab. So these are in no specific order by any means, but I'm going to show you the settings that I like to use on each of them, and there's a reason why as well. So for the first thing, it is just the trend line tool. On the trend line tool, what I like to do is I like to do the change in pips and not the change in price range. That doesn't matter to me. All that matters to me is pips. So what does this mean? It means when I draw a trend line, for example, I like to trade via measured moves. So example, I have this move here, right? Now, if I hover over this, it shows me that this move is 129 pips. So the way I use this is once I see that the market is an uptrend, we have a break of direction, shift of direction, change of character, whatever. If this last move was about 129 pips, I know that the next move is going to be what? Roughly 129 pips. So that's how I start mapping out structure when it comes down to the trend. So the first thing is the trend line tool, right? Now that's one of my favorite tools. I don't use trend lines to draw trends like this. I think that's bullshit. I don't think that works. I think that in retail concept, some things works, but some things don't work all the time. Next tool is a circle tool. I don't really have any crazy custom settings on this. You can have a bear, you can have a bull, you can have key BOS. Like, I don't really have any settings. I don't even use the circle tool for what it's meant for. I have the arrow tool. I do have settings on the arrow tool. I have an inducement or an enticement. I have a liquidity, aka the money sign. I have a reversal BOS, and I have a reversal, and then I have a shift of momentum. All of those kind of just mean the same thing, right? And when it comes down to the brush, I don't have any tools. The brush is very self-explanatory. Now, here's the channel tool. What I like to use the channel tool for is my imbalances, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to find an area. You're going to find an area where there may be an imbalance. For instance, let's just quickly go through this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to click. Now, here are the settings for this specific tool. We have a middle line. I have the middle line as a dashed line, as you guys can see. The channel lines are just clear lines. You can do the thickness. You can change how thick you want them if you want them nice and thick. Me personally, I don't like the trend lines or the channel lines nice and thick. I do like other things nice and thick though, right? Aha! But yo, jokes aside, if you want to put a little channel or a little background, you can do that too. A lot of times in my videos, I have this as like this light blue. There's not really a reason behind that. It's just something that's like a personal preference, right? Make the charts however you want to make them. So that's going to be that. All I really do is I just use this for an imbalance. So let's say I see an imbalance here. This is how I'd mark it off. There's my 50%. You can also use this for your order blocks as well. It doesn't necessarily matter. Now, next is the horizontal ray. I love the horizontal ray. I don't have any settings for it. All I do with horizontal rays is I just plop them down and they go on for forever. Next, I have the box. The box is something I use a lot. I have one box for Asia. I have one box for a flip zone. I have one for just a structural range or a frame. I actually have two of those. So I have another one for structural range. These are the ones I like to use. I have one for imbalances. If I don't want to use the channel tool, I'll use this. I have one for inefficiencies. That's the same thing as an imbalance. It doesn't necessarily matter. This one I use a lot is the liquidity grab. I love this one. I have the settings on this. I have it at the bottom. You can obviously change the text to be at the bottom or the top or the inside. For this, I'm just going to put it on the inside. That's the liquidity grab. And then I have my structure points if I have a major position in structure. So let's say like a daily. If I have a minor lower time frame, I use that type of color. If I have a mitigation, it will just simply say, hey, this is a mitigation. You can do order blocks. I use different things for different order blocks. SMT, smart money trap. If I'm doing a swing, I use that color. If I'm doing a position trade, I use that color. All in all, it's all just depending on you. I don't even really use the boxes anymore for my structure. I like to use the brush tool. I just like to click once and it gives me a nice little circle, and that is how I like to use my structure points. So let me go ahead and wipe all this. Let's continue on. The Gan Box, by far one of my favorite tools. The reason why is it shows you different levels, right? When it comes down to supply and demand, we have supply and then we have demand, right? And then we also have equilibrium, right? Equilibrium is in the middle. That's an ugly E, but you guys get it. So in regards to it, the Gan Box, very simple, guys. We have this range, which is our premium range. And then we have this range, which is our discount range, right? So in regards to it, when we're using the Gan Box, there's a few different ways that we like to use it. For one, let's say we are trading in a specific market. Let's say we're trading in a market that has just shifted directions to the downside, right? Let's say we see this area of liquidity being built up right here, right? Let's say we see this area of liquidity being built up. And then let's say we have a very, very clean, indecisive order block above. What we like to use this tool for is very simple. We want to see price come back up into this range. And the way we use this tool is once we identify an order block, we're either entering off of the open of that candle with the stops at the high, or we're entering at the 50%, the equilibrium of that candle, and then we're taking price down to the lows, right? Now, so you guys can have a good understanding of how and why this works, what I want you guys to understand is when it comes down to, let's say, an institutional candle. Let's say we have a candle here. That's our institutional sponsorship candle. We don't know if the majority of the volume went in here at the open or here or at the 50% or here. So what we do is we average out the size of that candle and we look at the 50% to even us out. We take our entry there and then we let it ride. This also gives us the most optimal risk to reward. Notice how at the 50%, this idea would be a 1 to 7. And then notice how at the open, it's about a 1 to 3.5, right? Catching these 50% order block trades using the Gan Box gives us the best probable opportunities when it comes down to catching those really, really nice sniper entries and things of that nature. Amazing. So now let's talk about the next tool we like to use. The next tool is going to be the Fibonacci retracement. Oh, one of my favorites, right? This is by far my favorite tool. Here's the settings. Take a screenshot, write them down. There's a lot of settings that are on, and then there's a lot of settings that are off, right? To be honest, I don't really use the negative. I don't really use the 127 or the 161.8. I prefer the negative 27 and the negative 61.8 as the extension levels, right? De-extension means negative extension or continuation extensions, right? So those are the settings. So let's hop off of that. What is the fib designed to do? The fib is designed to tell us one thing very simple. If this is the start of our fib and this is the ending of our fib, what the Fibonacci tool is designed to do is it's designed to give you these levels of retracements, 61, 71, 78, 88, 6. And what you do is you simply use this zone here as your optimal area of interest to where you want to get into the market, right? So this purple zone I just drew, anywhere from the 61 to the 88.6 is your optimal area of interest. What does that mean? It means that you want to wait for price to retrace back into this zone to find an entry. And how you find the entry is you just take your fib, you take this box that you draw, you look left and you trade right. What does that mean? Is once you draw this over here, you're going to grab it, you're going to put it over here, you're going to find a reason, institutional level, resistance, supply or demand zone, whatever it might be in this range. And once you find that, it's an added confluence in the deep level of retracement. You're selling a very premium level, and then we ride this thing downtown to the D extension level, which is the -27. So that's how you use the fib tool. Let's keep it going. Text tool, I don't really think I have any settings. Okay, I have a major structure high, I have a liquidity grab, and then I have a major structure low. Personally, don't even use those like that often. It is what it is. Once again, brush tool, very cool, very easy. Let's go up to a clean canvas. We have a short position and a long position. There's really no custom settings to do with these. Truth be told, just make the colors whatever makes you happy, right? This is the rectangle tool. The way I like to use this is sometimes I like to use this to highlight over a specific trend or a line or anything specific. No settings specifically, just whatever color you like. The next thing I have is the path tool. I really enjoy this path tool. This is like a new tool they added, but I don't have any custom settings on this or anything either. All it is it's just a plain old tool. I have a vertical line tool, don't really use that. I have fib time. I don't really use fib time. People ask, here's the settings, 0, 1.5, and 2. Personally, I don't even use the fib time like that. I don't understand or know enough about it to use it in a consistent way. It works sometimes, but sometimes is not what we're looking for. We're looking for consistency, right? Besides that, guys, other tools I like to use. I don't use inside pitchforks or any of that. I don't use any of this besides the parallel channel. I don't use any of this besides any of the tools that I showed you guys. I do, however, use date range. So I use the date range in the sense of momentum. There's no custom settings on it. I just change the colors every time I draw a different box. This is just simply used to identify price and time. Obviously, we see price in an up and down fashion, right? But time is in a left to right fashion. So it's important to know how long something takes to move. Like we can say that it took 4 days to go to the low, and then it took 1 day to go to this high. So in the sense of momentum, it's very important to understand momentum. Some people can't see momentum with their eyes, right? Which it's okay if you can't see momentum with your eyes, right? That's what these educational videos are there for, but that's another tool that I use sometimes, more so for education, but it's something that I can see with my eyes, so I don't really be using it like that. I don't use the curve, double curve, arc, triangle, polyline. I don't even know what a polyline is. I don't really use the circle tool very often. I have used it. I don't have any settings for it, but I don't really use that. Below the arrows, I just use the arrows. In the text, I use a call out. Call out, these are the settings. I don't have any, I think this is the base model settings on the call out. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Stickers, emojis, icons. I really don't use any of this. Sometimes I'll do this, or sometimes I'll put a heart just for liquidity. The measuring tool doesn't really have any custom settings. I do use the magnet, and I'll do a strong magnet when I want to get like an area very precise, right? If I want to get something so precise, if I want to put a horizontal ray right at the very, very tip or the wick of something, I'll use the strong magnet tool. This tool right here is called, this is the stay in drawing mode. All this really does is once you click on a drawing tool, until you left click, it stays on that drawing tool. So it could be helpful. In regards to the lock, I don't really use the lock. I don't hide the things at all. I also don't link my charts that much or at all. But guys, those are really the settings that I like to use in regards to that. Now let's get into the indicators. I like the MACD. This is really the only indicator I use. I know I have all these on favorites. Honestly, none of these really matter except for the fixed range volume profile and the MACD. So here's my MACD. This is the base model MACD. I'm going to give you guys the settings. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to come into inputs. You're going to do 3. You're going to do 10 and 16. So this is the 3, 10, 16 oscillator, right? You go to the style, and then from the style, this would switch. You're gonna uncheck histogram. You're gonna come to the MACD, which is a line currently, and you're gonna change that to a histogram, right? And then from there, you have the MACD ready to go. And in the sense of the MACD, we'll use it for a few key things. The biggest thing really just being divergence, right? We love using the MACD in the sense of divergence. A great example of that would be very simple. It's where the strength and the market are not doing the same thing. So right now we can see that price was making a lower low and then a lower low. This low is lower than the previous low. If we look at the MACD, this is actually showing us a low and then a higher low. So that's an indication of divergence in the market. Usually that's an indication that price is going to change directions. Really, all I use the MACD for is divergence. I don't look at it as, oh, here's a high, overbought, oversold. I think all of that is relatively kind of bullshit, right? But regardless of that, when it comes down to the MACD, those are going to be the settings. Pause the video, watch the video, whatever. Then we have the fixed range volume profile. This is just to measure a small range and see what the volume actually looks like in this range. As you can see, I'll give you guys the settings on this. It's just volume profile, values, and that's all the settings I have, to be honest. But all this is designed to do is really to show you where the vast majority of the volume was input. And then also it shows you where there's actual imbalances. See how there's 0 buyers in the market versus a lot of sellers. Notice there's 0 buyers versus sellers. The volume range fixed profile is a great way to find an imbalance and then see if an imbalance is truly an imbalance, right? Because from any time frame, it can look like an imbalance, but you have to see if there's actually buyers versus sellers. A true imbalance is simply that there's sellers and no buyers, or buyers and no sellers, and those areas of price need to correct, right? So prime example, let's try to use the volume range fixed profile one more time, and let's grab it, and then let's plop it down right here from this candle to this candle. Right, and then we just zoom in on it, and what we see, maybe we go to the lower time frame and look. What we see is price is pretty efficiently moving. Right here, 530 buyers versus 0 sellers, 540 buyers and no sellers. This isn't a very good example, but you could back test it and get some feedback for it. But in regards to it, I believe that's all the tools we really use when it comes down to it. We don't use hundreds of indicators. We don't use crazy smart money concept indicators and all this extra shit. You don't want to get confused on the charts. You want to keep a naked chart, keep it very simple. Use your markups as guidelines, understand structure and trends, and then use the settings that we shared today and let us know what you think about them. Go ahead and join the Telegram, join the Discord in the links below, and I'm going to see you guys in the group chats, and I'll see you guys for the weekly market outlooks and the live trading sessions every week within the TradeStart group. So with that being said, appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Take it easy.